Hey everyone, happy Tuesday and welcome to another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So, a couple new projects came in today, short-term projects, so a couple of really nice cars that obviously don't need restorations, but we're going to do some things on them. I'll come back to those shortly. So we've got a 64 Beetle here, and again I'll come back to it and talk about our plans for it. And then we've got a 65 Beetle here that's we're going to do a handful of things to these two cars. So let me talk about what we've done on some of our other projects, and then I'll kind of introduce these two new projects that have come in. So let me start with this guy, the Mouse Gray 63 Deluxe bus here. So if you watched the channel and you saw yesterday's episode, you know that we had a bit of an issue with these floors in this bus, which had been put in previously to the bus coming to our shop. And these are the funky green panels, floors. And so it seems like they had an error on them in the pressings, where the pressings for the seat mounting for the short middle seat. So again, on a walk-through bus, the middle seat only goes to about here, about like maybe 2/3 of the way across, so that the people in the front of the bus can literally walk between the front seats, and they could go around this seat and then they could go all the way into the back. Anyway, so yeah, walk-throughs, short middle seat. But when we went to fit the seat a couple days ago, we noticed that if we bolted the seat up to the driver's side mounts, that the leg on this side, the cargo door side, was off relative to the mounting points by about 2.5 inches. And so apparently this floor stamping is just wrong because the seat is not wrong. And to our knowledge, there weren't that many variations in the seat where it's like, oh, maybe we just have the wrong year seat. No, the short middle seat is pretty much the short middle seat, again, to the extent of our knowledge. So basically what we had to do, and so what Rafa spent a good chunk of today on was, so again, the way these mount is there's this plate like this that the sort of bottom tube of the seat sits on, and then you've got these keyhole brackets that basically a stud goes in, and then a little clamp goes on that stud that kind of looks like this, and it clamps down the bottom rail of the seat. So clamp here, and anyway, so yeah, pretty much what we had to do was remove all the old stuff, and then you can see how there's this recess here where these plates go. Well, there was no recess here on this floor. It basically just looked like this with the ribs in it. So essentially what Rafa had to do was go and metalwork these areas where these keyhole clamps were going to go to create, essentially kind of like this shape where the keyhole brackets could go in to receive the studs for mounting. And so he did that, lots of sort of hammer and dolly time to basically create these over here, and then weld everything up. And then he shot some primer on it. So we're going to have our paint and body guy come, and he'll use a little filler and basically smooth out all these locations where we had to drill out the spot welds. And then we'll paint this area, and you won't really so much even know it's there. And again, all of this gets covered with a giant rubber floor mat. So in the end, really all you see is the studs essentially coming up out of the seat. You don't really see a heck of a lot else. So anyway, yeah, that was kind of a big job, but yeah, it's I don't know. Hopefully the guy making the funky green panels has corrected that, because this is not good. So that was the first part of Rafa's day. The second part, which, well, actually, let me back up a little. The other thing he did before I move on to the Barndoor bus is on this one, again, the owner, so this is the 64 one family Beetle we built. Those of you that may not know, we finished this restoration in October. It's in for a few minor things. He wanted a passenger side rear view mirror. And so Rafa this morning knocked the hinge pin out of here and put in the one that has accommodations on it for a mirror. And then we installed this mirror. And then the other thing is, and I'll show it at some other point in time, we installed something called a Ready Rad, which sadly I don't think are made anymore. But basically what it allows you to do is on an original, say, AM radio, is there's a little box that you plug in between the antenna and the radio, and then that little box also receives, in this case, 6 volts from the car. And then if you tune the radio to 1000 AM, it picks up the signal from that little box. That little box has a cord coming out of it with a little, essentially like a headphone type plug on it that you can either plug into your phone or you can plug into like a little Bluetooth receiver. So then, long story short, you can stream music from your phone or take phone calls or whatever on your original, say AM 6-volt radio. So very cool. It allows you to still use the old radio, but kind of introduce some more modern convenience to it as far as being able to stream music from your phone. I don't think there's many good AM radio stations anymore, so it's really a good option. Unfortunately, I don't think the Ready Rad device is made anymore, but if anybody's interested in it, you can maybe find some on eBay or something. Anyway, so Rafa did those couple things on this one, and then he moved on to the Barndoor, which is still in our little body work booth outside. So I'll show that when it comes in, maybe tomorrow or the next day. They're doing a lot of work on the inside of the bus, filling a bunch of holes that were redundant or not needed and stuff like that, and essentially doing body work on inside of the bus. So for me, what I did was I continued restoring some things on this guy, one of which was the washer bottle, and it had overspray on it, and it was a pretty big mess. The cap was pretty much completely red from when this car had been painted at some point, so lots of time with that thing, cleaning it up, removing old paint and gunk and stuff like that. Got it looking good and reinstalled it. And then from there, I moved on to his seat belts. So anyone who knows anything about 67 Beetles know that they have very unique 1-year only seat belts that are kind of weird. So I think they call these things crab claws, and you can kind of see why. But basically, this is the seat belt, and it's on this retractable device that you see here, kind of mounts at the bottom of the B-pillar, which is, kind of where you'd expect it to. But then the latch mechanism is very interesting because what it does is both seat belts mount on this hoop that you have in the middle here. And so I can kind of demonstrate how this works. You'd stretch it over your lap, obviously, and then basically just push it onto here, and that's it. That's your seat belt. And then to release it, you can see it's even got a little arrow showing there. You basically just pull this part back and it releases, and then it retracts. And if you want these out of the way, you can just sort of flip them back there like that. So these things were pretty gross, and one of them, the latch was not working on it at all. And this return mechanism, I don't know if I can do it with one hand, probably not. But anyway, the return mechanism or the release mechanism wasn't working, and there's a little spring in here that basically works that mechanism in there. And luckily I was able to buy a donor seat belt from Brian Roth, and I robbed that little spring out of it. I drove the little rivet out. I guess it was on the other side. I drove the little rivet out that holds this plastic piece on there, put the spring in and put it back in, and reused the rivet and a little dab of glue to hold it in. Again, it's on the one on that side. And yeah, works like new. And then spent a lot of time cleaning those up. And then this middle bar here, which you can see looks pretty nice now. It's got a little patina, which, for this car is great because most of the things on this car have a little bit of patina. like the steering wheel horn, ring horn, and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, this thing literally was green. It had so much corrosion on it, and so quite a bit of time with steel wool. We used like a triple O steel wool with gasoline, believe it or not, and got this thing cleaned up pretty nice. So looking pretty good overall. Again, it has some patina on it, which I love, especially for this car. Matches all the other original chrome stuff that we're using on this car very nicely. And yeah, again, cleaned up the seat belts and stuff here. They work great, especially now that I fixed the latch on the one. So that was a big project, but is also a big deal because these seat belts are really considered to be a very cool 1 year only item on 67 Beetles. So anyone that knows their Beetles and knows in particular 67s definitely be looking for those seat belts when they see a nicely done up 67 Beetle. So there you go. There they are. They work great. They look great. And it's a very cool 1 year only touch to have in here versus just putting some, generic seat belts in here. So that was kind of a big deal. Other than that, I did manage to clean up a few other things here. Again, somehow his ashtray that goes on the rear inside quarter panel was also like green, basically, with corrosion. And pretty much that all came off, left a little nice chrome patina on it, and looks amazing. And again, it's a great match to all the other original chrome stuff on the car. Likewise, his front hood handle cleaned up really nice, and the latch as well. Rear latch also cleaned up super nice. The cool thing that I discovered today is that the same key on this car, like it's supposed to, fits the deck lid latch, both door handles, and the ignition. So it's kind of rare to find a car where one key fits everything. Usually at some point something has been changed, say it's the ignition switch or whatever. But yeah, one key for this car and it fits everything. Other thing I did was cleaned up a little bit was his deck lid crest, also super nice, and I think we're going to use that. It's got a couple light scratches in it, but again, I think it's perfect for this car, and it is original. And you can see somewhere on it, I don't know if you'll be able to, yeah, there it is, a little VW symbol right there. This is the real deal, so we're using it. Likewise, I dug out his license plates, and I got a pretty good kick out of this. Look at the stack of year stickers on this thing. I mean, it's a good 1/4 of an inch thick. I don't think that anyone ever removed a sticker from this thing, and it looks like it's probably been registered continuously since 67. So I don't know. I kind of want to keep this stack of renewal or of year tags on here. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to the owner because how cool is that? It's part of this car's history. So we may just clean up this license plate and roll with it with this big stack of year stickers on here. If the owner wants it to look more clean, we'll peel them off. But I think it's pretty cool. When was the last time you saw a car with an original license plate like that they just kept all the stickers on there? Cool. So anyway, on to the new projects that came in. We'll start in chronological order that they came in. So the first one that came in is this gorgeous pearl white 65 Beetle that came in. This car was restored by our friend shop, Lenny Kopp, and the owner said he thinks Lenny finished it in about 2021. So a few years out. And this is actually another one family car, a lot like our 64 Beetle that we have over here. So the the woman, there's a man and a woman. So the woman, her parents bought the car new. So it's really been in the same family since day one. At some point, she got it from her parents, and I think daily drove the thing for decades, I think. And yeah, so couple things there weren't super happy with. One is that the back of the car is very droopy. I don't know if you can tell with the kind of perspective on the camera here, but the car is about 3/4 of an inch lower in back. And you can even see there appears to be a little bit of negative camber. So pretty unusual for a stock Beetle. Usually a stock Beetle, there's even a little bit of positive camber. They're generally speaking a little bit lower in back than in front, but this is a full like 3/4 of an inch plus. So one of the main things is to re-index the rear torsion bars and bring this thing up closer to level. I'll still aim to keep the back down a hair, but much closer to level than it is now. The passenger window, I don't know if this is gonna show. Yeah, there it is, right there. It's got a pretty bad scratch in it, and so we're gonna replace this window. Probably have our friends at Koch's make one, and they can put on the correct logo there. You can even see that. But yeah, we'll have them make a new glass and put the correct logo on it. It's in for that. It's in for like a tune-up. It dies when you come to like a stoplight sometimes, I think, and needs a valve adjustment. I'll probably go through the carbs, go through the ignition system and stuff like that. So again, not a huge project, but beautiful car, and more than happy to have it in our shop and make it even better. So that's this one. So this one literally came in like 40 minutes ago. Owner dropped it off. We've been talking for a while. So this one is getting a complete new front suspension. And in fact, he dropped it off. He bought a pro-built beam from Air Cooled. And I can just, a little hard to see because it's wrapped in plastic. But yeah, 4-inch narrow beam, huge Willwood calipers, and still retaining wide 5 pattern. So yeah, so this is going on. And then in the back, I believe we're going to put on 2-inch adjustable drop spring plates. And then he wants to run Interceptor wheels, which are the aluminum ones made by Mobilwagen that look a lot like Porsche 356 wheels. And he's wanting to turn the car into kind of a canyon carver, similar to my red 55. So we're going to be putting wide tires front and back to go with the killer suspension and stuff like that. And I think there might have been a couple other little things he wants us to address. But yeah, the main thing right now is the suspension and wheels and tires. So yeah, again, not a huge project, but a cool little project that should be fun and great looking car. Love, of course, having great looking cars in the shop. So yeah, I don't know who built this car, but they did a really nice job. Really gorgeous paint job. Looks great, especially out in the sun. And yeah, some interesting accessories on it and stuff like that. And of course, it is a sunroof. So yeah, so these two cars will probably be around for a few weeks, maybe a month or so. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Extra long episode. Lots going on in the shop here. A couple new cars coming in, and lots of progress on all the other projects for the most part. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow.